friends, and welcome to another episode of your Bish Therapist podcast. And today I'm so happy to have my bestie and yours back. Welcome back, Cailtin Marshall, to the show. Hi, Cailtin.
Hi, it's always so much fun with you, and thank you so much for having me. I'm always happy to be here.
Of course, girl. And if you recognize that beautiful voice, you know her from Besties by Cailtin. She is crushing it on Instagram. You just did an event for, what was the event for? You just flew to Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. The grand opening of the Vanderpump Hotel. It was
Yes, ma'am.
fabulous. Let me tell you,
Yes.
it was very Lisa Vanderpump. I think it had to be in my bucket list. I have a large bucket list, but getting to meet Lisa. Listen, if you're wearing pink, Lisa's happy to see you. And I was just I was thrilled. It was wonderful.
You're crushing it. I'm so proud of you. I have to ask, what was Lisa like in real life? That must have been a wild experience.
It was. I've always said what's funny about when you get to actually meet reality stars versus meeting, say, your favorite actor or celebrity that does scripted is when it comes to meeting an actor or even a musician that you love, they have their personas that aren't truly who they are at their core. And when you meet a reality star, there's this weird moment of the parasocial relationship of believing you actually know them.
Totally.
And so there's a side where you're a little too comfortable, and then there's a side where you're like, oh my God, they're in front of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like a shroom-induced fever dream. You're like, is this real? Is this not? What is going on? Yeah, that is what I mean. That experience must be so wild to your brain. It's like, okay, we have this parasocial relationship, but she's here in front of me. I don't really know her. Yeah, so it's a rich tapestry of psychological, I don't even know what to call it.
I was fighting the urge to be like, hello, darling. But just if we talk about Lisa amongst ourselves, you kind of are like, heavy as the crown, darlings. But you don't say that to her. So
right.
it was just kind of this funny moment of like, Cailtin, don't let that intrusive thought win. Don't let it win.
Yeah. No to intrusive thoughts. No.
Yes. Exactly. I was like, okay, we can do this. Focus.
Exactly.
It was really great. Yes. And we went and ate at Vanderpump Garden, and it was gorgeous and the food was amazing. I can't say enough wonderful things about them. The staff was incredible. Every single person that works in that hotel, it does not matter if they were bringing your bags up, if they were at the front desk, if they were cleaning the rooms, every single person we interacted with was above and beyond with hospitality as well. So I think that says a lot about how the genuine expectations of Lisa Vanderpump, they were truly met. So yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not being paid. So.
Right. I think one of the cool things about what you get to do is just you get to have these experiences, but because you work really, really hard. For people who don't know, Cailtin, I mean, your content is just so good. You for years have tried to help me and I just gave up. I was just like, I cannot do what this woman does. It's so good. It's just people should look at your stuff to know how to do it. And I just cannot, but I appreciate what you do. It gives me such an appreciation for that.
No, you're so kind.
No, I really mean it. You do. Bless you. You always really try to help me. And I'm just like, girl, I cannot. I cannot.
No, you already do it here on your wonderful, successful podcast. I think I'll give this little piece of advice for anyone that wants to do it or is considering it, any type of content creation where you get your face in front of the camera. Don't think about the fact that you're talking to anyone but one of your friends. Don't act like you're FaceTiming your friend, but just doing it a little more polished. Because I think when you start considering, oh gosh, what if only 500 people watch this? Or what if it ends up being 500,000? Well, our brains can't even put together the idea of 500 people around us. And technically, if it gets only 500 views, at a certain point after building, your page, you think, oh my gosh, it only got 500 views. But then if you put 500 people in front of you, that part would be slightly terrifying, right? So always consider it when you're being authentic, just talk to your friend.
Right.
The camera's your friend.
Right. And I think you are really an authentic person. And that's one of the reasons that I really gravitate towards you because in this, we were talking privately about things that I'm not going to speak about. But, and I know everyone's like, God damn you. But there's a lot of trolls in this business. And for me, I refuse to have people on my podcast that just like don't have my back anymore. And so I think it was a month or two ago, we had posted you reposted something that I posted. I forget even what it was. It was some sort of interpretation. And in your DMs, a therapist on Instagram came to Cailtin and tried to tell her that I am an unethical piece of shit and she should really stop talking to me. A therapist who, by the way, you don't know her, right?
No, she's trying to do what you do.
That's the thing, too. And there we have it. Pew, 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 pew. And Caitlin's a real one. I just want everyone to know there, like, for the YBT community, she's a real one because she sent me screenshots and I was like, not only did this woman completely go after me, she stalked my life, she researched me, she looked up licensing information and then was trying to hold that over my head and then just trying to convince you that I was an absolute terrible human. So then I go to look at her page and it's like, it said something about like lover of pop culture. And I was like, oh, she wants to be me. Well, that's so sad that she can't be because your bitch therapist is 101, honey bun.
Yes, absolutely. One of a kind. You are the only you there has ever been. There's no you more youer than you. Thank you so much, Dr. Seuss, for that one. Now, I let her know, like, excuse me.
Cailin had my back. I was like, oh, shit. But you really made good points, too. You were like, if my therapist was online, and by the way, I told my therapist about this incident, and she laughed so hard, and she goes, well, number one, good for, Cailin for having your back, but number two, she's like, that does not surprise me, but that is wild. I feel like I'm just born and people are just like, I hate this bitch and I'm obsessed with her. And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. What is your trouble?
See, I feel like this is something that I had to start learning to take away from all of this because it's funny that you say that. I see so much positivity in 9/10 of your comment sections. And what's hard is those few that are so like, and people will be so cruel online, saying things that, could you imagine walking up to someone in person that was a stranger and you overheard their conversation for 2 minutes and the things that these people will saying that to that stranger? No, not on any planet. It's insane. It's worse than the things that we'll yell at other people in our cars, right? You wouldn't yell it at someone if you hopped in the elevator with them. And I know that's a comedian we don't like's joke, but it was a good. But yes, that said, I finally, because I used to go in and just battle some of these trolls. And instead, what I've been trying to do, just focus on replying to the positive ones that give a little something. Because there have been so many times, oh my God, where I literally just, you feel like you're fighting for your life. And you kind of are. In front of the entire world, it feels like. For example, I rarely ever post anything about my child or even me as a mom. And we had a little incident around him. He just turned 5 on Monday. He was supposed to have a tonsil and adenoid reduction surgery. And we've been through a lot of medical stuff with him from an accident he had last year. And we were already kind of dreading it, but we planned our whole summer around this surgery and we were having anxiety. And at this time he's 4 and, fasting for a 4-year-old, hello, it's hard enough for an adult.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Yeah,
awful. They're like, why are you starving me? Why?
You're trying to kill me, Mama.
It's the saddest thing in the universe to have to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and his check-in wasn't until 10 a.m. So we were 20 minutes from leaving. His dad takes the dog over to my parents' house across the street. We're in the house and I say, okay, I'm going to run up, grab my backpack and iPad, come down, pee, and we're going to go. This took me 2 minutes. 2 minutes, y'all. I come down and McCoy has a look on his face. And I was like, oh God, what did you do? And I noticed red icing around his mouth. He got into the tiniest mini donut and ate it 20 minutes before the surgery. So they had to cancel the whole thing. So I was like, let me just make light of this. I'm going to make light of this. I just kind of put like a little video of myself like, oh, when you're supposed to go to the surgery for your kid. You planned the whole summer around, and 20 minutes before check-in, you notice red icing. Here's a mini donut.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I didn't expect, like, one, it sort of went, when I say small scale viral, when you think of viral, there are people who get, like, I don't know, 15 million views on a video or something. This was like 500,000, which was a lot still.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
It was a lot. And it's kind of scary when you look at it. And the way some people in my comment section were saying, so tell me you're a terrible parent without telling me. This is your fault. Really awful stuff. And I crashed out for a minute. And then I was like, Caitlin, you got to let it go. Sometimes you open yourself up and the crazies will come in, as you and I have talked about in private. But, it's just interesting what people will randomly latch onto, I think.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Caitlin, when I saw that happened and we talked about it, I was like, no one looks at how this child was set up for failure by the medical system. It's like, you want a 4-year-old to not eat or whatever. But you're a wonderful mom. You're a wonderful person. You are always such a light in terms of being able to, look at, reframe things. And you're always the one who talked to me about all this stuff is monopoly money. It doesn't really matter. And so I like that you practice what you preach in terms of being okay, this was a hard moment for me. And of course, people take advantage of it's really all projection, to be honest. It's nothing even about you. It's people projecting, but it doesn't make it hurt any less. And that's what's so upsetting. When people are calling out your character, calling you a shitty mom for your kid was being a kid and
he's hungry.
You're right. And you were getting stuff and what are you supposed to stare at him for every second until he
and
goes
pee my pants?
It's just so crazy. I know. It's just so insane. But I think the point is that we appreciate the people who appreciate us. And it's important to spend the time on those people and not the trolls. But the one thing I will say is this therapist, I messaged her.
Proud of you.
I can't help myself.
Stand up for yourself, girl.
I messaged her and I said, hi, I don't know you, but you know me very well, apparently.
Clearly.
And I just would love you to know I'm not doing anything unethical, but thanks so much for your concern. And then I blocked her. And then I went about my day. And so there we have it. Also, sometimes when those people show themselves, I think it's great. So we know who to get out of our space. So you rule.
Agreed.
You're a wonderful mother. McCoy is such a beautiful, sweet little thing. I love when I see pictures of him. And I'm glad. Aww. So has the surgery been rescheduled?
We have not rescheduled it yet because I think what's hard is it's an elective surgery. And we had surgeries that were not elective that we've already had to deal with. And you know how that is.
Yes.
So you know just as well as anyone, or better than anyone, I should say, that then it's okay, so do we really want to choose to do it? But it's
tough.
He snores.
My nephew,
and it's not healthy.
Right. My nephew just had his tonsils out yesterday. He's 10. And he kept getting chronic strep, thank you. He kept getting chronic strep infections and his throat was always hurting. And his poor little tonsils were huge. Yeah. So we got them out yesterday and his quality, he's hurting now, but his quality of life will be so much better. They were in such bad shape. So listen, you guys will know the right thing to do. You trust your intuition. Yeah. And only you know what's best. And literally fuck everyone else is what I have to say.
I love that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, girl. Let's get into some Bravo because
let's do it.
There's some breaking Bravo news about Milania Guidice, who was arrested for assault 2 months ago. But recently, the judge presiding over her case shared insight into the allegations made against her. So I'm just going to tell people a little bit about this story. 2 months ago, she was arrested for assault, and this judge read during a July 14th court hearing that Milania allegedly did knowingly cause injury to another, specifically by striking the victim whose initials are LR. Okay. the head with her fist, causing redness to the middle of the victim's forehead during a domestic dispute. Now, here's what Milania said. She said, I mean, it is what it is. Shit happens in life, and it is what it is. You got to learn from it. You got to become a better person and talk about it. And I was just not in a good area in my life. I've been through a lot, and some other stuff happened to me. And that for me was a huge thing. She said, some other stuff happened to me. Like, just because you guys think you know everything that happens in my life, you really don't. And so I want to get your thoughts on this. But for me, watching Real Housewives of New Jersey, watching her 4 daughters be literally traumatized. I mean, we were watching their trauma unfold, losing first their mother. And then when their mother came home, their dad went back and then he was just gone forever.
Gone. Mm-hmm.
And Milania, I remember watching this and I thought, to myself, she is going to have the hardest time with this because Gia was older. So she had to take that role, right, of the eldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriella was the youngest.
Yes.
And so she didn't get as much exposure to that. And I just feel like Milania was so close with her father that I feel like she's had a lot of trauma because of the choices that her parents have made and continue to make. And so the last thing that I'll say is that Teresa on her stories posted this lion and lioness tagging Louis saying her forever person. And I just thought, I'm going to need some more information about this because if you're going to choose Louis over your child, I feel I'm going to have a real strong reaction to that. So what do you think about this?
So here's the thing. I had seen over the last several months little posts here and there where people were showing concern maybe for Melania's mental health. Some behavior that it wasn't anything overly concerning. It was just maybe out of character, seemingly slightly odd, right? And you, of course, hit the nail on the head that it was clear that she was going to have the hardest time. She's the one that, really, because she's the second youngest. And it's very apparent that she didn't really know where her place was, at least in my opinion. During all of this, there was the youngest, Gabriella, and then I forget, there's Milania, Gabriella, Gia, and Adriana.
Yes.
Is Adriana the youngest?
Adriana's the youngest. Yeah, we were wrong. Yep.
Yes.
So Adriana's the young. So it's Gia, Milania, Gabriella, and then Adriana.
Gabriella's older than Milania. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure.
Shoot. Okay. Gosh.
I'm
sorry. I have to apologize. I apologize. I'm going to stop and say this right now. Bear with me because my brain sincerely has not been functioning and I don't want to be saying wrong things, but I clearly am messing
First of all,
up, so please forgive.
No apologies. No apologies necessary because number one, they haven't been on our screens except for really just seeing Gia the most. Right. Our brains have to take in a lot more information than just remembering Teresa Giudice's 4 daughters' names and what their birth order is. So please.
Yes.
I know a lot of people expect those of us who do the commentating and things like that to remember and know every single thing, but sometimes we don't. We can't retain new information without letting go.
My brain is focusing on just trying to keep me above water.
Alive.
So that's what I'm trying to do. So thank you for
And I think that's more important. Okay. Yes. I think at this point, from what I had heard and understand, let me say allegedly, because I don't know that this has even been something that's confirmed or completely factual, but my understanding is that maybe allegedly it was Gia who had called the police because something got out of hand. Now, I don't know how it works, let's say in New Jersey, and I'm not educated in law at all, but I was curious at one point, okay, did Louis go ahead and press charges, or was that something that was out of his hands that once they saw it? So
that's what I want to know. And is Louis causing problems, or is she struggling with mental health issues, or is it a little bit of both? Which I don't know this family, but from what I understand about Louis and Teresa and all of that, it seems like Milania would have some anger and resentment over some of the choices that Teresa has made, right? So I want to be mindful of how we discuss this because mental health matters. And I just hope that Milania is okay. I just worry about her. I worry about the kids, but she's not a bad kid. I just think she's going through it and she's struggling and she deserves a lot of compassion and understanding. But I do need that
Agreed.
question answered of, did Louis press charges, or was it out of their hands when someone called the police? Because in some
Right.
states, domestic disputes do require an arrest. So we'll find out more about this. And as we do, I'll talk about it. I just hope that Milania, I hope that she's getting the support that she needs and deserves, because what happens sometimes when people act out, people want to look at the child and say, well, what's wrong with them? Instead of looking at the system and saying what led to create this, right? And I understand she's adult and she's responsible for her behavior. I just think that she deserves better than what she's gotten, and her behaviors are telling us she's having a hard time. That's my thought.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's just been a lot for her. And to have it play out on television is even more so.
1,000%. And, I can't wait to hear more about it. Not that I can't wait, but I need more information about what happened.
Agreed.
And, all these things, because I don't know. I just need more information. So sending love to Milania and everyone who's struggling, and TBD. We'll see more about that. But transitioning to someone else who's struggling, what I'm going to have Cailtin do is share with us a little synopsis of what's going on with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and the Taylor Frankie Paul drama, because I clocked out of that eons ago. I just clocked out because I was like, this is too dark. It's too much. When the video of Taylor Frankie Paul came out, I was really gobsmacked. And so you are really into that world. And I would just love for you to give people a synopsis of what the heck is going on.
Yeah. So it was a week before Taylor's season of The Bachelorette was set to premiere. It had already been filmed, in the can, ready to go. Lots of advertisers, dollars in it. She was even at the Oscars that Sunday. And suddenly, the video that Dakota had taken on his phone of the night she was arrested was released to TMZ. And since then, multiple things keep getting released to TMZ, down to body cam footage. Okay.
Right.
Now, the video we saw, I was appalled. And I hate this. I'm going to be very frank about it. It's one thing to hear, an overall generalization of what happened, but then to see it, it was a lot.
Watching it, I think for a lot of people watching it, it made you question Taylor in a lot of ways, because it was so egregious. It was so shockingly egregious and toxic that it takes the words and it takes what happened and it puts it to another level in our brains.
And then, I have had a relationship that there was domestic violence in my earlier 20s that was really awful. And so my brain automatically I first freaked out, and then I also, which is not something that we normally want to ask, but at the end of the day, I am curious to know what had happened that led up to that, because we know for the most part, without there being something more going on than what I would assume Taylor has going on within her, that people don't just attack you out of nowhere typically. And there are certain extenuating circumstances, at least not in that manner when they're in a relationship with you. That's not typically what you expect, especially in a romantic relationship too. And it's odd because Dakota's roommate, Crew. Now, let's bear in mind that whenever the son that Taylor and Dakota share together, who's 2 years old, his name's Ever, whenever he is in custody with his dad, he is around this roommate, who is like his best friend, I think, my understanding. And Crew, I'm pretty sure it even says in his bio on TikTok stuff about Taylor. And he has been releasing multiple videos that are clearly private, that are supposed to indicate, and it's interesting because there are talks of The Bachelorette getting released, and now I haven't heard it as much that it was going to be. So I don't know exactly what's happening there, but it's interesting that as soon as that talk starts ramping up, then suddenly there are so many videos to be released. And one of them recently didn't do in my opinion, what he thought it was going to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and make my stance on all of it as clear as I can. I genuinely believe that both Dakota and Taylor were abusive to each other. And I believe that it was an incredibly toxic, addictive, codependent type of relationship that should have ended before it began, period. I also believe that Dakota used Taylor as a vehicle to grow his social media. And there was lots of talk of him allegedly saying this to people, that that's what he was doing, because he came right into her DMs. It's not like they met organically, which, listen, people can meet that way. That's fine. I'm not judging it. But I find it all very suspect at the end of the day. And this last video, Taylor is very clearly postpartum. She is sobbing as she comes into and now bear with me, I'm trying to remember how she came into the room, but in my mind, I'm remembering that it's not like she kicked the door in, busting in. She's crying and she says to Dakota, "Why are you filming me? This is real life. Why are you filming me? This is real." And he's holding their son, making claims. She gets kind of cornered. She's made her own allegations against him, saying with pictures. And there are people saying different things on all sides. Well, those are wounds she got from him defending himself, because there's another video that crew had released of her being violent toward Dakota. And it's like, it's never okay to put your hands on someone like that.
Period,
I will say, not, and especially not first. Let's say that I feel that you have the right to defend yourself, but you don't put your hands on someone first. My guess from someone who armchair quarterbacking here is that this type of relationship, it's so toxic that Dakota knew what to say to her, and that's on Taylor to not
trigger her. Right. It's her responsibility to not react, but he knew how to push those buttons. Sure.
Yeah. That's my, and I'm not saying that it makes anything okay, believe me, because at the end of the day, like I said, if we're being real here on what's actually okay ethically, if someone's using their words, you don't use your fists. That's it. But I think for her, she's not going to be on the season 5 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. She's going to be in the title.
But here's the thing, and this is what I wanted to get your thoughts on. Now she's beefing with the women, so that's a separate thing from the Dakota stuff. And now I keep seeing online that she's saying she'll be in all 5 episodes. And her behavior online has given me some pause, but I don't know it well enough. I see someone who's having difficulties in their relationships in all areas of their life, which usually indicates, right, that person has some work to do. But, I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that whole thing.
So it's interesting that you say that, because at first I was about to say, well, I had read that she was not going to be, that she was only in the title shoot. But at the very least, she is absolutely 1000% being talked about. I know that much.
Sure.
When it comes to the show. But I mean, now that I'm thinking, because again, it's what I'm allowed to say.
I understand. Yes, I understand.
She actually, it would be odd if she wasn't, at least in some of it, for some of the things I do know. I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to be so cryptic. It's literally, I don't want to legally get in trouble.
Yeah, contractual obligations, girl. We're not trying to get you all messed up here on Your Bitch Therapist podcast. So no, please don't.
No.
Please don't.
Can't get blood from a rock, but still. So yeah, I think she might be. But yes, I think, look, Montauk was built on the basis of making videos using trending sounds, putting a caption over the top, and having it be something that people go, well, who are you talking about? Or something that makes it slightly controversial that people have to engage in the comments section. It's very genius social media strategy. And they still do that. All the girls still make that type of content. It's quick and easy to make. And it is smart content creation. Now, all of the other girls were filming something clearly for the show in some capacity. And Whitney is kind of in the front helm of it all. And it's saying basically, we're surviving. Because remember, the whole line was, can Montauk even survive this, over and over and over? And then the rest of the girls all come in, obviously minus Taylor and Demi, and they're dancing and giggling and whatever. And I can understand from Taylor's perspective, and it was the exact same day that she had a review hearing for her custody case with Dakota, following in the same exact week that Tate, her ex-husband, went to try and get custody of their 2 children. And so it was, I will say this in her defense, that's a lot that it was the exact same day, all of that. But it's also needs to be remembered, Taylor, baby, that's what you built. You built this to be that exact format. So maybe try to take it with a grain. But that's the hard thing is she is someone, once she is triggered, she fires off. She does not stop and think.
Right. And so that's what I notice on social media, that I have a lot of feelings about that with I have a lot of empathy for Taylor, but I also feel like she needs to understand the ways that she's creating her own issues. And I have empathy in terms of things have been chaotic and I'm sure very stressful. But it does seem like when she gets upset, she just lashes out and says mean things and does things. I feel for her benefit and for the benefit of her children, I hope that she's able to self-focus, because forget mom talk surviving this. Taylor needs to survive this because she has children who need her.
Absolutely.
She has children who need a healthy mother who chooses partners who are healthy and appropriate and all of that. Because I think you're right. I think her and Dakota, there were things going on there. It had the feeling of an addictive, toxic relationship. Because when I worked in addiction, you see these relationships that they're not just chaotic. They do give flavors of addiction. I love you, I hate you, I need you, I don't want, it's very impulsive. It's very, there's a lot of red flags for me. So
and the last one more chance is last hit. I swear it's my last hit. And that's the I'll give him one last chance type of thing. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you sharing your story too, because what I talked about before is that there are so many women who have survived domestic violence situations, who have been victim survivors, whatever you want to call it, who have been impacted by these things. And so I have empathy in terms of, when we have those experiences and then we see these things, it can be very triggering, period, end of sentence. And so what I try to do is help people understand what it is about themselves and how, why they're experiencing that. Because really at the end of the day, that's all we can get out of this mess is well, what does my reaction to this say and things like that. So I give you a lot of credit, empathy, and support, and Taylor and all the folks who have been in these situations. And I'm so grateful for you. And I hope for Taylor that, you've gotten yourself into a much better situation. You have a beautiful child and a beautiful life. And you work really hard at it. And so I hope the same for Taylor, because she and her kids deserve that.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly agreed.
Okay, friend. So let us get in. And you know what? Before we move on, I will say, please remember that help is available. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, you can call 800-799-7233. You can also text BEGIN, BEGIN, to 88788. There is a website and you can chat. There's a lot of features. I don't recommend the AI feature. I don't recommend that. But there are a lot of other great features on this website that you can use to get resources. So please check that out. So let's get into In the City, because while we're speaking about women who are suffering the consequences of their own behaviors, Amanda Batula should be in the dictionary next to that descriptor. Holy Moses. So first of all, the In the City finale, I want to know, what did you think about it? And what have you thought about the show in general?
Honestly, the true star of the show is Lindsay Hubbard. Okay, let's be very real there. That's number one. Number two, I find it fascinating because the way Amanda would have come out of this in such a different place if she had bare minimum handled this properly.
Totally.
And the way because Kyle was a disaster in this finale. I mean, my God, you can't even wait for everyone to sit down for Thanksgiving before you're shoving a drumstick in your mouth drunkenly. And, look, I feel that Amanda had finally gotten to this place with all of the other women around her, because she and Lindsay had feuded for years and they had each other's back. And that's the thing, Lindsay Hubbard, she is a good friend when you need a friend. And it's a bummer. She's repeating repeating the same cycle, but it almost feels worse because Kyle at least was very obvious with his behaviors. West is so subtle and it's scary to me.
Wes behaviors are so subversive. They are so under the surface that is so dark and so gross. Where, yeah, Kyle is just like a golden retriever, like a drunken one that's not trust me, I'm team no one in this situation. But the thing about Kyle that we see again and again is at least he has a modicum of empathy. Whereas Amanda, here's the thing. For me, I wanted to watch In the City because I always want to believe that there are other sides to stories. I wanted to see if there were other aspects to Amanda, if there were other aspects to Kyle, right? Maybe Summer House, this is a dynamic. And maybe we'll see something else. But you know what I saw? I saw the same exact shit on a different franchise with a completely different cast, the same triangulation, the same manipulation, the same empathy of Amanda, the same lack of understanding. Like, my, if it isn't the consequences of my own damn behaviors. It's wild how Amanda believes that she should get peace. Like, she feels like she deserves things that she doesn't because of her behavior, which is wild to me. So for me, the season finale was very lackluster, except for the Amanda and Kyle stuff. So the beginning of the season finale, it was like this Friendsgiving, and everyone is arguing about how special moms are. And that personally, okay, I was just like, I will be fully honest, is that I lost my ability to have children due to ovarian cancer. And so for me, this topic made my head want to explode. Okay. I think that for me, feminism means supporting women's choices, no matter what we choose. If women want to have children, great. If they don't, that's great too. And furthermore, I feel like women who are child-free like myself, we are the aunties, the godmothers, the people who love children because we want to, who celebrate children because we choose to. We are the people who help the villages of mothers and love children that are not ours. And so for me, this whole rhetoric of like being a mom versus not being a mom, personally, it really annoyed me. I'm going to be very honest. It really ticked me off. I appreciated that Lindsay admitted she was like using the card. She said it. She was like, I was using the mom card. And it's like, fine, then just admit that. But then don't, because I love Lindsay, right? Mother Hubbard all day. I do. I appreciate her very much.
People don't get everything right all the time. It's okay to disagree with something.
That's right. Yeah, she's human. Yeah. We're all human. We're not going to stand all of her behaviors because that's not what we do here. But to try to claim that someone, their life isn't full or they're not busy because they don't have children, that really irked me because I'm going to tell you what, I don't have kids, but I manage 100 diseases. I'm working. I'm doing this podcast. I'm trying to keep myself alive. I have errands. I'm an adult. My life is very complex. So I don't like the insinuation that if you're not a mom, you're not busy. Isn't it nice to be able to go to Pilates? And it's like, do you forget that we all make our choices, right? We all make our choices. So I don't know. That was my long-winded thought. Caitlin, what is your thought on that?
So I want to say to everyone, I fully agree with women are not defined by childbearing. Okay. We are defined by who we are. And whether you want to and you do, whether you can and you don't, whether you are indifferent and you cannot, in any way you switch it up, it is not the defining feature as a female. And I always say this to my friends who don't have kids. And I say, I don't even ask if they want to have kids. If it's brought up, if they choose to bring it up, I'll say, look, if you want me to convince you it's a great idea to have a kid, I can tell you all the wonderful things. If you want me to tell you why you don't want to have a kid, I can tell you all the things as to why it is hard. And, the thing is, I think Lindsay is still feeling that resentment of Danielle being right, which Danielle was out of line when she said this. I want to be clear about the single momming it. And yes, there were great points that while Lindsay she is a single mom, she can afford to have a nanny. I can't afford to have a nanny. Thank God for my son's Nana, who's across the street, my mother, because I wouldn't even be able to be sitting here and do this podcast.
Right.
Especially when they're really little, you think you are in the thick of it in one way. When they get older, you're in the thick of it in another way. And I think for Lindsay, maybe what she meant, because when we saw the flashback, she was trying to say, I don't have time for this drama. I'm a mom. I don't. I'll give you what I think she meant by it, that you and I discussed privately. That, when I was younger, there were certain relationships, whether it be romantic or friendships, that I would tolerate so much drama because I just didn't know what else really. And now my capacity for drama, for certain types of stress and anxiety, I can't allow them in my space because what it takes away from is me being present with my child. And so it's like, no, my brain I don't have the capacity. Much in the same way for you dealing with your health, you don't have the capacity for those type of things. And it doesn't have to be that just because you're a mother, you don't. But I will say for myself, personally, what I noticed was one of the biggest changes in me after having my son was that I will cut off anyone that is not bringing joy, peace, fun. That brings there's always going to be shit for everyone. But I'm saying if they are not adding to life with me and I'm not adding for them, they cannot be around me. And so I think Lindsay was, in my opinion, and trying to say in so many ways, I just don't have the capacity. My brain isn't there. And I get that it was a pretty snarky comment. Like, what are you tired from? Pilates? I think the room situation was weird and annoying. I cannot stand it when grown adults on all of these trips will have little bitch fits about the room.
I can't.
Get out of your room.
I can't. I know. I can't with the room drama. To me, it's like, if I'm going on a trip that's paid, you can put me in a damn closet. I'll be set.
It's fine.
Right? Like, the level of entitlement is so crazy. And nothing bores me more, to be honest, than that. It's like, that is so annoying. But I appreciate your reframe. And I think you're right, is that even though Lindsay's comments were rude, quite frankly, I think what she's saying is like, there's a difference between people in our lives who are human and they're flawed and they're going to screw up and we're going to have to talk about it in conflict. There's a difference between that and then allowing people into our lives who are drama, toxicity, creating havoc, things like that. So I do think that's a very fair point. And I think that's something that, mom or not, everyone should live by, right? We shouldn't be having people in our lives who are authentic friendships. But then it's like when you're filming these shows, sometimes that's what cuts you off at the knees, so to speak, because it's like, well, you're show friends. And so like in regular circumstances, we wouldn't be in that scenario. But what's so fascinating to me was the end when Amanda and Kyle had their sit down. I feel like I'm Shannon Bedore. It was so wacky. So here's what I'll say. They filmed on April 9th, 2026. Okay.
Yeah.
Amanda and Kyle filmed to discuss the breakup, where we literally, again, watch Amanda, no emotion whatsoever. Kyle was like a sad puppy dog on the couch, doing that little kid thing where when you cry, you do the little frowny face, you do the little lip quiver. I was like, Amanda, you have me feeling bad for Kyle, and that is not a comfortable place for me to be. Okay?
Agreed.
Kyle basically says to Amanda, you point blank lied to me about West. You left me for a guy that rages 3 times harder. Here's what Amanda said. I didn't leave you for someone else. She said, I was scared. I thought, ma'am, what does scared have to do with anything?
You were almost there. You were almost there, Amanda. You really were almost there because no, she did not leave him as far as we know. If we're going to believe the timeline bullshit, whatever. And we can't forget, yes, Kyle cheated on her from what we just know of, at least a handful of times. So Kyle, I feel like in that moment, Kyle was trying to play victim. She didn't leave him for, again, as far as we know, for West. However, yes, she is the one who left him. And the more true statement was, you left me and chose to go with someone way worse,
right, which is, that's facts. That is facts, because the one thing that Kyle has that Wes doesn't is empathy, okay? Because on social media yesterday, so I'll get into this really quick, but on social media, there were rumors going around that Amanda was pregnant, which I don't talk about rumors like that because I think,
agreed.
Again, whether she is or not, that's up to them. I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
That's their business, right? But why I'm bringing this up is because they did a TikTok shopping for pickles and ice cream And I just thought how tone deaf that was.
Such poor taste.
Such poor taste, but also tell me you don't give a fuck about people's feelings. They're telling us again and again and again. And I swear to you, that TikTok video proved to me that these people, you know how sometimes kids, they don't care if it's positive or negative attention, right? Sometimes kids just want attention and they act out and they don't care if it's positive or negative. And I feel that way about Amanda and West. But like seeing how she talked with Kyle, it just all tracks, right? Like nothing has changed from the Summer House reunion. Nothing is going to change from the In the City reunion where Amanda is still claiming, well, Kyle cheated on me and blah, blah, blah. But what was so fascinating is the fact that she said there was no affair. She said, I'm not downplaying anything that I did and how fucked up it was with my friendship. That was verbatim what Amanda said. I'm going to repeat that. There was no affair. I'm not downplaying anything that I did and how fucked up it was with my friendship. So
as she's talking to her husband.
Right. Talking to her husband about double dating with West and Sally. Just like mind blown. Mind blown.
And the irony that she said, she's going, I'm just scared to even walk down this street, Kyle. I'm afraid someone's going to yell in my face. And then to go make this TikTok that you're referring to. I guess you're not really that scared of that because you think you're fine. You just, got the reunions done and you think you're good just because the people right around you. And no one should go yell in her face. Like no stranger needs to be doing insane things like that. However,
we can dislike Amanda without, reading her for filth publicly. That's not our job. Yeah.
And it's like, I know she was trying to be funny and lighten the mood, but it also was like, I think it was very revealing that at the end of this conversation, she asked Kyle, you want to go to dinner? And he knew she was also serious because he said, no, think that people would kind of lose their minds because she was getting photographed at every restaurant, even allegedly a picture where people think it was her out in a black bob wig. Like that girl, she looked like the girl from The Incredibles. God, I am a mother.
Edna.
Yeah,
that's right. Edna, she did.
That's what it looked like to me. I don't even know if it was actually her or not, but a little suspect. So I thought, yeah, she was trying to lighten the mood. I get it. But at the same time, it is one of those things where the consequences of your actions mean that sometimes people aren't going to be okay right away. And I cannot stand when people expect you, I said, I'm sorry, forgive me already. When you just apologize. Yes, forgiveness can come. It just give people some breathing room for a second. You know what I mean?
For sure. But it's like, I don't even think she cares. She doesn't want anyone to hold her accountable for her behavior. She wants to go out to dinner with Kyle because, by the way, that's manipulative, right?
Yeah.
Because she knows if she goes out with Kyle, fans will be like, oh, well, Kyle is accepting and it's all just so manipulative. But one of the things that really stuck in my little therapist brain, and I wonder if anyone even caught it. So I want to see what you think about this. She said if she basically is blaming fans for having to stay in her apartment because she's afraid. Okay. She's afraid, but she's going out drinking and partying and doing all the things in New York, right? So we're talking about incongruent words and actions, right? If she were scared, that TikTok probably wouldn't have happened. That's not something a scared person does, but I digress. She said if she keeps hiding, quote unquote, she will fall into a dark hole. Did you catch that? She said, if I keep hiding, I'm going to fall into a dark hole, which for me, this was one of the most egregious things. And people are going to be like, that's a nothing burger. Why are you saying this? So hear me out. Make no mistake. She is trying to place the responsibility of her mental health on everyone other than her. No, not just Kyle. On fans.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
On fans. She's trying to say to fans, you are the reason that I have to hide here. And if I have to hide here, I'm going to be in a dark place. And if I'm in a dark place, that's not because of me. And that
You're right.
is the biggest red flag. You know, when we were like in elementary school and you played that thing with that giant parachute, and you had to like, you put it up in the air and then you went underneath it. That giant parachute, that's how big of a red flag the statement is to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a parachute.
It's like there's a portion of me that understands, okay, if she I would feel uncomfortable. Let's just play the what if game. If I were Amanda and I wanted to go grocery shopping and what am I going to do every time I have to go grocery shopping, grab someone to go with me? And I can understand that. At the same time, it's like, it's actually been said about her before that she never leaves the house. And we do have grocery delivery. We do have all of those things. And yes, even, people like Amanda deserve to be able to leave their home and walk outside.
Of course. Yes.
And it's interesting because I'm curious if she did experience anything like that. I would hope not, because people have a right to live their lives even if it's we're going to say mistake, an egregious thing like this. But I'm just wondering where this happened, because I almost feel as though she would have made it very abundantly clear that she had something happen to her. And again, I'm not trying to negate that that's a possibility. But, part of what was hard speaking on all of this online was there was that fine line, because it makes me think back to Rachel Leviss. And Rachel Leviss showed up to that reunion contrite. Even Sandoval did. She looked like she just knew she had fucked up. And there also, you could see she needed some form of therapy, which she did go get herself help. And I think I always have in the back of my mind that I feel guilt that I know I piled on and added to what she was getting online. And there was a moment just kind of toward the end, I remember it was at the end of the part 3 of the reunion. And when she was crying in that confessional, just admitting to everything, and you could tell she likely had been drinking in this confessional, trying to get through it, crying. She looked like a little girl to me. And I was like, this girl, she's an adult and she fucked up, but something's not feeling right for me, how this is all playing out. And it felt wrong. And I haven't fully gotten that feeling with Amanda. And I'm trying to, maybe you can probably contextualize this for me and speak it more eloquently than what I'm saying. But I think part of me personally, I'm trying to not allow myself to fall back into what it was like with that dog pile, where, it was insane. And this was basically completely different version of Scandival 2.0. I think it was worse than Scandival, if you want to know the truth, not to take away from Ariana's experience whatsoever. But I feel in a different way that this is worse, and all the implications of it. But I feel like now a lot of us are trying to find that balance of like, hey, accountability, but also we don't want to see someone reach a point of harmful thoughts and things like that.
Right. It's a hard
fine line.
Right. We don't want Amanda suicidal. I'm just going to say that. We don't want her suicidal. We don't want her, none of that. She does not deserve death threats. She deserves to be happy. She deserves safety. And I fully agree with you on that. And I think that was the Bravo fandom way too wild about this? I don't know what other term to use. They were just rabid. The Bravo fandom was rabid about this. And so on the one hand, I definitely agree in terms of like, Amanda's a human, no matter whether we like her, whether we don't know her. Mm-hmm. She's a person who deserves happiness and safety. Now, as someone who does this, like, I'm never trying to pile on, but it is wild for me to be able to see these like manipulative, problematic pieces. But I see it from the place of like, for example, if I were her therapist, I would ask her what role you played in this, because Kyle was able to say, he literally was like, I know that my behavior was really bad. He said, he's like, I don't know if it was like a good old fashioned spiral, if I was self-sabotaging, what it was, but I know that I fucked up. And Amanda, it was just like crickets. And that's the part that bothers me, because
agreed. Yeah.
While she deserves to leave her house and do all those things, when we make relational choices from a place of being, I don't want to say unhealed, because we don't have to be healed to choose the right person, because none of us would ever choose the right person then, because who the fuck is ever healed? You know what I mean?
Who are you telling?
So I don't mean that. I just mean we're gonna repeat relational patterns that we don't address, is what I mean.
She's not, it doesn't even appear to me that she has taken any small baby steps into healing whatever the wounds are that caused her to go ahead and go forward with this. I think is, if I'm interpreting it correctly, what you're saying is that she wasn't even coming from a place of, freedom. You know, she didn't even enjoy her own freedom for more than a month, if that. She has not experienced really, if we think about it, much of her frontal lobe developed adult life.
Yeah.
Without a man.
Yeah. No, sincerely. And it shows, right? And it shows because Amanda, what I get frustrated about is she puts herself in the passenger side of her own life. And when you do that, everything that happens to you, you're a victim. But it's like, well, where is your agency in your own life? Where is your sense of agency? And that is what frustrates me. It's like, well, if you don't want to be scared and you want safety and you want good mental health, you have to stop blaming the fans. The call's coming from inside the house. That's what I mean, right? Like, you have to understand. And one of the most narcissistic statements, I had to write this down because she mumbled it. So I turned on the captions and I wrote it down. She said to Kyle, and I quote, "On the plus side, all of my shit I've heard has helped Loverboy." Okay. She said that, number one. Then she said that Loverboy is thriving not because of Kyle, but because the fans hate her so much. So she said, and I quote, "I don't think that's why they're supporting you. I think it's because they hate me so much." And the saddest part of this, I'm going to be honest, is that Kyle, he didn't even bat an eye when she said this. He's so used to her behaving like this, because to me, in any other world, I would stop dead in my tracks and be like, "Ma'am, what? Excuse me? Are you trying to take that of my, like, from my accomplishment? Are you joking?" But that's really how she thinks and feels. And that's what I'm saying, where the call's coming from inside the house. Like, if that's what you really think, then you really are your own issue. And a lot of my empathy is just, I struggle.
Yeah, you know, I think what one of Amanda's favorite hobbies is to yuck Kyle's yum. And look, there are some times that he deserves to have it taken down a notch, but it does not matter what the context is. It doesn't matter the situation. She has to find a way to take him down. I don't think I've heard her brag on Kyle in any capacity since they were engaged. She was, yeah. And that's been a while. That would be, let's try and keep
5 years?
We'll say 4.5, 5 years. Yeah. To keep the timeline more factual. I genuinely, even when he gave her the Cartier watch, she had to take a dig in confessional. Dig.
Right.
Instead of it just being, wow, I know everyone's seen on here, he's not always, been the best with gifts, but this year he nailed it. Like, it wasn't even that. Like,
right. And then, at the reunion, they showed this clip of her, like, sniping at West, like, "Don't eat that, you idiot. We're cheersing with it," while everyone, like, proceeds to eat it.
Yeah.
And again, I just think that it's really easy to look at other people and to say, this is where you're wrong, and this is where you're wrong, and this is how you're screwed up, and not do the same for us. And what happens when like someone like Kyle, who is able to take accountability, ownership, we'll see. Like, will he change his behavior going forward? I don't know. Time will tell. But if we refuse to even look at our role or responsibility in something, we are destined to repeat unhealthy patterns. We just are. And I hope that Amanda gets healthy, but I'm going to be honest, for me, and I want to know how you feel about this, I can't watch anymore Amanda. I really can't. And Kyle, to be honest, I struggle with that too, but he is coming back to Summer House. So Amanda and West are not coming back. Kyle is coming back. I can't do any more of this with them. So I don't know how that's going to impact me watching In the City. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
Much like the housemates on Summer House, I can't watch the Amanda and Kyle show anymore. I'm curious to see what we're getting on this reunion. And, I would be curious to see how it plays out, because do we really think Amanda and Wes are going the distance? And I would be curious to see what she actually learns when that ultimately likely ends. And I'd be curious to see if she actually takes anything and makes any changes, does anything. I would be very curious.
I want to be clear. I root for all these people. I am rooting for them to be happy, to do better, to be their best, most self-actualized self, to just be happy. I, like you, cannot watch the Kyle and Amanda show anymore. I can't watch the Kyle show. Like, I can't watch another season of Summer House where Kyle is just like blackout drunk, yelling and raging and complaining. And so I think we all need a break from it, which is why I think this is like a good ending point from In the City. We get a little bit of a break. Summer House started filming. And that's the other thing. I find it so interesting that like Summer House has started filming. Her and West aren't there, but now all of a sudden they're posting, right? They're posting that they're at a wedding with West at some farm. The pickles and ice cream thing. And so what that's giving for me is that's giving like a childlike sense of wanting attention and being really sad that you're not getting it. And I want better for them. Like, get good attention. Hate is not good attention. And I understand we're all going to get a certain amount of that anyway, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Maybe it's just, I want for you to want better.
Yes. I want for you to want better, girl. Come on.
Yes. Yes. That's it. Sometimes it's like things happen in life, but my God, just I want for you to want better than what you're going to get from West. I want for you to want better than what you received from Kyle, because I don't believe that Kyle was good to Amanda. And I think he was mean. I think Amanda got very mean once it didn't change. And I'm not blaming Kyle for it. I think, and I'm not necessarily even blaming Amanda. I think sometimes people just get stuck and comfortable and they just start accepting things. And before they know it, the quicksand is already above their waist.
Right.
So, I think that happens more often than we think. And like you've said, it's easy to judge when we're watching it, the edited version on television. I mean, thank God there's no camera on me 24/7. Who knows what would be picked up?
Yeah, exactly. Well, everyone would just actually see me laying around and they'd be like, oh, we're hating on this bitch who's just disintegrating on the couch. Neat. So I would actually love for cameras to follow me around. No, I'm just kidding.
People would be like, does this bitch ever actually lay down? And I would say, please, that used to be a hobby of mine. I used to love doing that. And then, I have this, I keep trying to say he's 4 years old. He's 5. Like my office right now used to be my office, but because it's his birthday party coming up this weekend, there is shit everywhere. It's like, anyway, my ADHD kicked in, excuse me.
Well, welcome to it. Welcome to the neurodivergent show that you're just like, bah. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
The inside thoughts
the Bish community loves it. They love it. They love it. So, and they all understand and they accept us for who we are. That's what I love the most about this community, really. They understand us. They don't judge. They're just wonderful humans. So no worries.
Because typically your audience is the type of person you are. So you tend to attract, it's like, that's why I always call mine the besties. Because I'm like, okay, we're all besties here. We're probably all golden retrievers deep down. And so, of course, your audience will be the kind, empathetic, adorable, compassionate, wonderful people who are funny and love to curse a lot.
Right. Yeah, basically, yes. Oh my gosh.
We love it.
Okay. So before we wrap, one of the things that I want to hear your thoughts on, we won't talk about it totally, but the Valley. Cailtin, what have you been thinking of the Valley? Because I just had Mary Payne from Pink Shade Podcast, and she loves the Valley. And I was like, why? Where? How? What? So there are some people who are loving it, and I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
The episode that was Zach's birthday was Chef's Kiss. Zach Wickham is hilarious. I adore him. He turned this drama into a dramedy. That episode was fantastic. I am at the point where you want to talk about someone I don't want to see on the TV that I had the utmost compassion, sympathy for, was on their side all of last year. And now I'm just absolutely is Danny. If I do not see at that reunion, him full blown taking accountability without skirting around anything and without Nia jumping in for him, I do not want to see it anymore because it makes me uncomfortable and not a fun uncomfortable. Like there is the uncomfortable watching a scary movie, a horror film. That, if that's your thing, cool. But this, it absolutely appalls me that even after, doesn't matter how many times he gets called out, the way he treats his wife.
And women in general. And women
yes,
in general, yeah.
She is his prize, his baby maker, his caretaker, and the caretaker of his children. She is nothing more to him. And this woman, she was Miss USA. I used to compete in the USA system myself. She is a black belt. I believe, I can't remember if it was Taekwondo or karate, one of the two. She is intelligent. She is accomplished. She has a successful podcast. She's a human being. This really brings it full circle from our talk about In the City. Nia is not what is between her legs and in her body that grew humans. That is not all she is. And I swear to God, Nia, baby, I'm just going to believe that I could possibly be talking directly to you. I understand your faith is very much that you work things out. I understand. But I also believe that God, the God you believe in, would not want to see you treated this way. You do not have to do this. Either say you get into therapy with me or not, because when you said to him, you were overwhelmed and couldn't take it. I don't care if you wanted to have 5 kids, 10 kids, and you ended up with 10 kids and said, I'm overwhelmed. If you are overwhelmed, a partner takes up and stands up and says, where do you need me? Or you know what? Without asking, they say, give me the baby. I'm putting her down tonight. Why don't you pump? We're going to try getting her on the bottle this time. Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe if she's smelling you on a blanket, it might help. I'm going to figure this out with you. Instead, he told her to suck it up. Yep. And that it was before any of the other shit. That's when I went, Danny, you're an asshole. You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit who does not view her as a human being. You view her as a prize and a baby maker.
Right. And the saddest thing is that he doesn't respect her. And that's a real problem, because when you have 4 children, those children learn about respect and relationships by what they see. So Nia could tell these children all day long about this is what you deserve in relationships and this is what you should expect. But when they see certain things and seeing Danny talk to her certain ways, that's a real problem. I'm grateful to hear what you said, because for people who are uncomfortable, that's a great instinct. You should be. Because we're watching a man be verbally abusive to his wife and to other women with no sense of, again, ownership, accountability, and it's just blaming everyone else but himself, right? Very similar concepts to Amanda Batula. Mm-hmm. I personally will not watch another season of Danny. I will not watch it. I will not do it. I'm finishing this season because people wanted me to. And I think that there's a lot of rich context for me to be able to, share my interpretations. But I am tired of talking about terrible men on Bravo. I'm tired of it. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of having to, I don't know. It's just so frustrating. But to your point, at the reunion, unless he either fakes it or unless his brain changes or he just fully gets it, I don't see accountability coming. But guess what? I'm going to be watching. And I guess we'll have to find out, because it's really gross to watch. How Danny just talks to women, period, by the way. Mm-hmm. And then also it speaks to the inequitable, women, we want a partner. But Nia, sometimes there's certain situations where it's I get the sense, I'm just going to say what I'm trying to say, okay? I get the sense that because of Danny's religion, he sees himself as the man, and the man is the head of the household. And what's so fascinating about that thought to me, like when Danny, he was doing like this chest bump thing, like he was hitting himself on the chest, which is, it's a very
Neanderthal.
niche, niche Neanderthal sort of behavior. But it's like, if you want to be the head of your household, then be that. Because the head of the household, my husband treats me like a goddamn queen, okay?
As
queen,
he should.
I will tell you. Queen, honey.
Yeah.
Any other treatment other than respect, love, admiration is just, we don't want it. We don't want it. Nia deserves better than that. But like Amanda, she also has to understand the ways that she participates in all of this, right? Because if my husband talked to me, literally how Danny talked to her for 5 minutes, if my husband talked to me like that once, I'd be like, hi, we're done here. I'm just being silly, but I'd be like, what has something happened to your brain that you're talking to me like this, because this is unacceptable. Yeah.
You know what I think it comes down to? Nia just doesn't want to be embarrassed and out of control, because that was something she said this last episode. I just feel out of control and dysregulated, which was great. She was recognizing that, but it just shows even further how much she is doing with these children. She recognized it in her toddlers. And
literally, yes.
Yes. And I think for her, being embarrassed is more than she can handle. And I think it's even more so if Danny gets embarrassed, it's 5 million times worse for her, because she's going to hear about it. And I cannot watch another soft-spoken little, I just want to do a check-in with you. Bitch, I would not be checking in with you.
Right.
I would be checking out, just like you said. Because at that point, I would have looked at him and I would have said, would you like for me to embarrass you, or would you like to move on and have fun? Because that pageant thing, I would have verbally, I like to say I would have verbally kicked his ass. But that being said, I genuinely would have been like, do your own goddamn makeup then, motherfucker. Goodbye.
Right. And I think it's just a symptom of like what Nia has been taught, I assume by their church, to tolerate. When Danny said, don't elevate me, what I said, and I had to walk this back because I joked about slapping him too. But I was like, no, but and obviously we don't condone that. But it's like, whoever taught that little troll that that's an appropriate thing to say. And like for Nia to be like, oh yeah, okay. Because, if I was their therapist, I would say, that's not an appropriate thing to say, because the only person who's in charge of our emotions and our emotional responses is us. So Nia, I call it codependency dodgeball, where she's trying to take the hits for Danny. And by the way, do you notice that she's doing a press tour now? Where's Danny? Is Danny on Watch What Happens Live? Is Danny on Call Me? Wait, no, not Skinny, but Not Fat. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
There's all these podcasts that Nia's doing, and she's Danny's mouthpiece. And I also don't like the system that's forcing her to do that. Like, where is the person being like, enough? She's not his emotional thermostat. She doesn't need to speak for him. Why do we keep putting her in this position? It's just also gross to me. It's gross.
I agree. And I think, because, Danny's father is a pastor, and he has a church. And I'm not saying all churches, anything like that. There are plenty of lovely ones. But it has to make you wonder if he, growing up watching his father be the leader in the church, that he somehow still believes he's this leader here. And that ties into something else I want to point out, is that I am very interested to see if Kristen and Luke and Zach and, but especially Kristen and Luke, saying that they look up to Danny and Nia and their relationship. I believe Danny and Nia are putting on a complete front for the show. There is no way they are both being honest. The only honest moments we see from them are the moments that Danny loses his shit because he's had enough alcohol, he can't control it. And, the way he manipulates everything that's being said. So like how everyone said, look, we don't care if you drink. No, they don't care, but they care how you behave when you drink too much. That's right. The difference.
That's right.
Now they're all looking for the clues that dark side Danny is coming. So that is why they're scrutinizing every little thing you do. They wouldn't if it had been an isolated incident. They wouldn't
if you could drink recreationally, if you could drink responsibly is what you're saying. The drinking is not the issue. The behavior while drinking, that's the issue. Yes.
They don't care if he drinks alcohol. They care what happens. And then when they know it's coming, then they're like, great, now we got to be prepared for whatever he's going to do next. They're uncomfortable. So yes, it's uncomfortable.
Right.
You know?
The cast is uncomfortable. The viewers are uncomfortable. It's just all a lot of discomfort. And I just think Bravo's supposed to be fun. And I would love to get back to the fun. So that's a great note to end on, Cailtin.
Yeah,
Thank you
I agree.
so much for being here. I always love when you come on. Please let everybody know where they can find you and what you got going on.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Besties by Cailtin, Caitlin. And I am going to something that's going to be really exciting coming up oh my gosh, it's in 2 weeks. And I can't wait to share that. But there's just some fun stuff coming. But look for me on Instagram, TikTok. Oh, and on Threads. I like Threads too. That's fun to do.
Yeah, I was on Threads and I just didn't have the bandwidth for it, but I'm kind of making my way back there because Threads seems kind of fun and that seems where all of it's
is.
I cannot wait to hear what's going on in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to have you back because you're really crushing it. I'm so proud of you. So please check her out.
I am you.
Besties by Cailtin. And by the way, Cailtin, I deleted my TikTok. I have to tell you that. I deleted it.
You know what?
I was like, I
no
cannot.
judgment.
I can't.
A lot of people did. It's okay.
But her TikTok
it's not
is
for
great.
everyone.
No, it's not. It's not for me. It just isn't for me. But if you love TikTok, follow Cailtin because her stuff is on point. So please check out Besties by Cailtin. Please check out Your Bish Therapist and give a 5-star review if you would be so kind. Also, please check out my Patreon community, which is growing and growing. And we're doing some really fun things over there, some Zooms and all this other stuff. So please check out patreon.com/yourbishtherapist. Yeah, it's a real good time over there. So for today, we're going to say sending love to you and yours and ta-ta for now.
Bye.
Disclaimer. Posts are not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide medical advice. Your Bish Therapist is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The podcast, my opinions, and posts are my own and not associated with past or present employers, any organizations, Bravo TV, Greyheart Productions, or any other television network. The information in YBT podcast and on its social media is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat. Please do not act or refrain from acting based on anything you read, see, or hear on YBT podcast or associated social media. Communicating with YBT via email and or social media does not form a therapeutic alliance. Melissa, operator of YBT, is unable to provide any therapeutic advice, treatment, or feedback.